Um, mm,
It says we're
so
live on my screen.
yeah, it says we're live on my screen too, but I got an error.
We're live on Twitch.
We are live on Twitch. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. We're live on YouTube as well. Yeah, so we'll if you want, one day we could have a meeting, and I can kind of show you everything, get you access to the drive, get you a folder, make it all official and stuff.
Talking to Crystal.
Yeah,
Oh, I was talking to you.
I
I
can.
already have access to
Oh,
everything.
He has a folder. It doesn't have anything in it. He's never used it.
that tracks.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Did you
he's
expect him to?
no, no,
Yeah, okay. I was
no.
gonna say.
It literally just yeah. Ah, Skeeter, nice shirt. Yes, we're gonna talk about the shirt. We're gonna talk about another shirt too. I brought some stuff to talk about UFO days. Talk about some cool stuff today. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Skeeter. We talk about shirt. Changed up the color scheme of the background. You see it? See it, Skeeter? Do you see it? Do you see it, Jeff?
Yeah, I see it.
You see it. You see it. Do you see it? Do you
Still
see
trying to wake up from my
it?
nap. I pounded that milkshake. I'm just hoping that sugar smacks me soon and just, you know.
Literally just wake up.
Nice. We always start off with like a nice surge of people that join, and then like three or four of them drop off like that.
It's because we wait too long to start the actual show.
Is that what it
People's
is?
attention spans are really short these days, bro. If we don't get into the
Mm.
heat within like a minute, people get bored and they tune off. You know,
Mm. Mm. Got it.
just is what it is, bro.
Should we not do the 5 minute wait then? Should we just jump into it? Should we do that?
Okay, it doesn't matter, I guess. I mean,
I
listen,
mean,
if somebody's not patient enough to sit for 5 minutes while we like let people pile into all the platforms, then fuck them. You know,
okay,
what are you gonna
yeah,
do?
yeah.
Can't please everyone, bro. Can't be running in circles trying to please everyone, dude.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Just trying to get participators, you know, trying to get them.
We reached affiliate, didn't we?
We did.
Listen, if you got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to the channel. All right, that will help us out. You can also gift. You can subscribe for free with Amazon Prime, by the way. You don't have to pay because you have Amazon Prime. You can also gift subscriptions. I think with Amazon Prime, I don't know what the thing is now, but you can gift a subscription. So
Hmm.
if you have Amazon Prime and you're watching right now, use that, subscribe, give us a Prime sub, and see if you can gift a Prime sub. Let's make sure it works. All right. I think it's broken. So fix it. We got to test it. Somebody do it.
Yeah. Good thing you know that because I didn't know that.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, man. I'm so happy. So happy that you knew that.
Also, share this. Share the link. Put the
Ooh,
link in all your
yes.
socials. Call your grandmother. Tell her to watch.
Yes. Tell
Whatever.
grandma.
My
Okay.
dad watched last week.
Her dad watched.
Thank you, Crystal's dad. Tell grandmama.
Hopefully,
Oh,
my boss is watching so I could tell him
Mine are a lot
I don't want to
better.
come to work tomorrow.
oh.
I hate it.
Huh.
I hate it.
I love my work if my boss is watching. I love it. I love my work so much.
I'm on the hunt for something else, man. You know,
Same.
Come up here and work for me.
there's just nothing else. There's nothing up there for me, bro.
What you talking about? I'm up here for you.
It's one person.
What?
Family.
I got my whole family, all my friends down here.
I got family up here that you can have. You can have some of my family.
Nah, I'm good.
I'm a friend.
Hasn't met your mom.
Yeah.
Shoot, that wouldn't fly.
Bring mom too.
She's not going. Bless you.
Bless you.
What's up, Billy?
Tell Billy that there's cats up here too. Like he can hang.
Billy, you gonna be on the show tonight, bud?
Billy is now officially on the show tonight.
Everyone say hi to Billy.
It's my pet cheetah. He just went behind the couch.
He's coming out the other side.
Please don't touch that.
All right. Looks like it's gonna be a slow chat night. Sweet Skeeter holding it up. Thank you, Skeeter. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. You guys ready? Hefe?
I'm always ready, bro.
See. All right. Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Jeremy. And tonight, we will be chatting about things here on the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Like we always do. Hefe. Buddy.
Exciting.
Yeah. Last week we talked about transhumanism. That was pretty fun. I made the clips for that episode today. That gets posted tomorrow. That's gonna be a fun episode. I know a lot of people are gonna reach out to me and tell me I'm a weird conspiracy theorist now. But this is what it is.
Wear it like a badge of honor, bro.
I will.
That's what I do.
I will. I'll be like, yeah, my buddy's name is Jeff. He's Jeff.
It used to be an insult to be a conspiracy theorist. So many people would call me conspiracy theorist like they were insulting me. And then 2020 happened. And now it's like it's like trendy and cool to be a conspiracy theorist.
I think what's really funny is that when I started this podcast, I can't remember who it was. It might have been you. Somebody had said that they said, what's the difference? Or they asked, what's the difference between the truth and a conspiracy? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, time. And that has proven to be true. That's
Yeah, it sounds like
hilarious.
something I've
That's
said
something
before.
I've heard you say.
That's hilarious because that's been pretty much factual since I started this podcast.
Not always, of
There's-
course, there's a lot of conspiracies that have yet to come true, right? And there's a lot of them that are just conspiracy theories and it's just crazy shit, but yeah, for the most part, for like a lot of them, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I mean, we've seen a lot of stuff come out as of lately, right?
Yeah,
Like the Kennedy stuff.
Kennedy shit, the chemtrails.
Yeah.
I mean,
just what, 2 weeks ago, we had that kid that came on from the cloud seeding company for not here for the Sean Ryan show,
yeah, SRS, yeah.
right? And I hate to bring it up because it's literally current events right now, but the flooding in Texas, he was literally down there cloud seeding 2 days ago, and he's getting ripped on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it right now. Literally dragged through the mud right now because he was down there cloud seeding for the state of Texas in that area, in the exact area. And he's getting blamed for all this shit right now.
I mean,
Like,
it's
what, 35
it's
kids died?
that's not even a conspiracy theory in my opinion, right? I've been a long time sayer that weather modification and chemtrails are not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact, right?
Mhm.
And it just takes 5 seconds and you can find the public information on this stuff. It's not new. So when that dude went on SRS and I saw like the internet blew up, was like, oh, look, bro, chemtrails are real. We told you. And it's like, bro, it was never hidden. You just never went and looked,
Well, did you listen to the episode at all?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so he specifically talked about chemtrails and contrails, and chemtrails. He refuted them, right? He didn't. He specifically talked about chemtrails in the definition that a lot of conspiracy theorists will talk about, and how he doesn't know of the proof of those, right? He didn't say that uh, that they don't exist, right? He just doesn't know of the proof of them because the way that he does it, he did talk about the silver iodide thing, right? That does exist. That's a real thing.
And that's a
That
chemical.
that creates something for the moisture to freeze to. It creates a physical object for the moisture to freeze to in the atmosphere. Uh, so it has something to build to. He even goes into the science of how it's easier to create snow than it is to create rain.
Yeah. The problem with a thing like chemtrails is that what is the definition of chemtrail, right? Like now the internet and all the conspiracy nerds on the internet have a trillion theories of what chemicals they're spraying and what they're used for, whether it's mind control or nanobots or all these different things, but the fact of the matter is chemicals have been sprayed out of planes for decades to manipulate and control the weather.
Hmm.
Period. That is a chemtrail. That is the original meaning of chemtrail. And the 4chans and the Reddits, they just took it off. And now chemtrails are creating, all kinds of other shit according to these people, right? And some of that might be true. We won't know for a while, but you know, chemicals being sprayed out of planes to control and manipulate the weather is a fact. It has been a fact. It was never hidden from people. And so when that guy says, I don't know about chemtrails, and then in the same breath says, but we spray chemicals out of the planes to manipulate the weather, it's like, yeah, you dickhead, that's a chemtrail, you know?
Well, he specifically uses drone technology.
Still a chemtrail.
There's a lot of methodologies for weather manipulation, for spraying aerosols into the air. There's ground-based systems. There's planes.
Right.
They do
Okay.
it with
Fair enough.
balloon. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is a semantic argument where you could say chemtrails don't exist, but
Yeah.
clearly they do.
Either way, we'll jump back into that here in a minute. Let's get the front matter out of the way. Let's talk about the palette change, right? So I made an announcement yesterday on the Facebook that uh, we are officially. I mean, it's been a thing for a long time, actually, for the whole year, that we will be making our return to UFO days in Elmwood, Wisconsin, the last full weekend in July of this year. Let's see, I want to say it's the of course, here we go. 25th, 26th, and 27th. The 26th, this Saturday, starting at 9:30 a.m., I will be giving the presentation in the auditorium, the same place as it was last year, minus my help from last year, minus Jeffrey right here, because he's lame and he doesn't want to go and help me this year. Uh, look at him. He's all sassy about it. Look at him all sassy. Give him them sassy eyes, Jeff. Give him the sassy eyes. Yeah,
It's true. I just don't want to fly up there again.
he's scared.
Yeah, I don't like flying.
Look how scared he is. So at 9:30, I'll be giving the presentation, doing the story and the history of Elmwood and UFOs to the Elmwood UFO days, which is going to be a lot of fun. I've been writing a book on Elmwood for the past year, and I've got a lot more information. So I hope to see everybody there. If you're in the area, please stop by. We'll have a booth all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will also be doing the tours on the bus this year. That's new for me. Kind of nervous about that, but it's not like I'm not familiar with it. Just haven't done that before, but looking forward to it. With that being said, we came up with a brand new logo this year for our UFO days stuff, and this is kind of going to be the thing for every year. UFO days, we turned the jackalope green for the little green men. Pretty cool, right? Come on, Jeff, how cute is that?
It's pretty
Cute.
cool.
Yeah, no, come on, man. Say cute. Say it's cute.
It's cute. You're cute.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it? And then we did the blue portal, right? The infinite symbol. Now, if anybody's familiar with the story of Elmwood and George Wheeler, George Wheeler got buzzed by a blue light and was found unconscious. That ties into the blue infinite symbol. Blue is a big thing when it comes to the story of Elmwood, so I tied it in. Easy as that. And we got a cool midnight blue is what we call the color of the t-shirt, or that's the name of the t-shirt color. Yeah. But got one more surprise for you. I showed everybody within the IRH family, if you will, yesterday. We have a special t-shirt that's going to be making its debut at UFO Days, and that is a black tie-dye shirt. Check that out. My wife slaved over this. Slaved over it, everybody. Slaved. She slaved. She was sweating and she was so close to dehydration. And I was like, drink water. And she's like, no, I have to make it for the people. And I was like, you really care? And she's like, I do. And she did it. Look at that. How cool is that? How cool is that? Oh yeah, Katie doing cool stuff.
It's cute.
Isn't it cute? And just like this t-shirt, it's got the UFO Days 2025 logo that we created. This isn't the official logo of the festival. It's just the Infinite Rabbit Hole version of it on the sleeve. And we're also going to have stickers there too. But if you come by the booth, just like last year, we have the standard Infinite Rabbit Hole sticker, as you can see on my Yeti cup here. This one right here in our standard colors. If you stop by the booth, we'll give you a stack of those. And the kids, we have temporary tattoos for them. So stop by, say hello. We'll have a pretty much full group of new faces for you guys to meet. No Jeff, no Jake this year. We'll have Kenzar. Skeeter will be around. I'll have my wife, Katie, her friend Caitlin will be there. She was also a guest on the show at one point during the Beast of Bray Road series that we did. So yeah, please stop by the booth and say hello and let us know what you think of the show and enjoy yourselves. Get yourself a UFO burger and get assaulted by cheese at the parade, like Jeff and I had the chance to get assaulted last year. Yeah.
That's the real reason I'm not going. I don't want to get beaten up by a block of cheese again.
He loved it because he said it was delicious.
The cheese curds were not that good. I was not impressed with the cheese curds.
We didn't get you cooked ones, did we?
No, but they threw some at me and I tried them and they weren't that good. Now the cheese sticks, phenomenal. Phenomenal cheese sticks. Cheese curds, eh.
Okay, we need to get him some deep fried cheese curds next time he's here. We'll go to Milwaukee Burger.
Just mail it with the box of all my merch like 8 months after the fact, like you guys did last year. I think I got all my UFO Day shit in like February.
Actually, he's not wrong. That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, like this poster that's behind me.
Wait, my UFO shirt from last year.
Her UFO Day shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to be getting one of these. Yeah, I got some of these in a box for you. I'm just waiting for February to send
Sick.
it out.
Sick, dude.
That's right.
Hell yeah, bro. Shit, by then they'll have teleportation down. You could just teleport it to me.
Yeah, with a quantum technology.
Everybody's waiting for.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's it. If you guys are in the area, Elmwood, Wisconsin, stop by last full weekend of July. Looking forward to it. I loved it last year. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Last thing, I did have somebody request that. Okay, somebody said I don't promote the Patreon other than just mentioning that I have a Patreon. So that's true. I don't. And I also have announcements because we have two patrons right now. I would like to say thank you to Kenzar and Skeeter. Both of them are team members of the Infinite Rabbit Hole, but they are our first two patrons since it's been opened. So thank you very much to them for subscribing to the Patreon. And I'll just really quick one time just kind of go over what we offer on the Patreon. For $1 a month, you can subscribe to the Jackalope tier. Now, this is the best way that you can support the podcast. As I've been asked multiple times, what you can do to support the podcast. Okay, other than just mailing me money, which I don't expect anybody to do, you can support the podcast by subscribing to our exclusive content by going to patreon.com/infinite rabbit hole and subscribing to one of our monthly tiers. For $1 a month, the Jackalope tier will get you early ad-free access to all of our episodes. Now, is that a lot? Absolutely not, right? You can come on to twitch.tv/infinite rabbit hole and watch all of those episodes live and ad-free right now, right? Every Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Time, you can watch it live and chat with us every single week. But if you would like to support the show, you can do it for $1 a month on patreon.com/infinite rabbit hole. For $3 a month, you can also get, this is the Reticulan tier, by the way, a monthly full-size 30 to 90 minute solo documentary episode on a topic of something that I choose to do. The first one that I did was John Teeter, the time traveler. The second one was the Ryo Tatsuki prophetic manga. And in 3 days on Wednesday, July 9th, I'll be dropping Momo, the Missouri Monster, which is a local Bigfoot legend from Louisiana, Missouri. Actually a pretty awesome one where the local Bigfoot legend carries around a dead animal and stinks like pure death. Literally the exact same thing that you guys used to get all the time from me, where I used to slave and just pump something out once a week for you guys. Now I have an entire month to work on it, and everything is nice, crisp, clean, and the production value is a lot better. I'm able to research for an entire month and put out something that's complete. And then for $5 a month, if you're feeling very generous, you can join the Multiverse Explorer tier. And on top of everything that you get from the Reticulan and the Jackalope tier, you also get copies of my script, which also comes with illustrations. So anything inside of the script that I read for the bonus episode, you also get pictures of what I'm describing. So any important graphics, graphs, notes that I took during writing the script, any Googled images, anything that helps tell the story, that's all going to be posted with the episode, usually in a separate post, so that I can specifically save that for this tier. An extra monthly video of behind the scenes goodies, usually of just me telling you specifically my thoughts and feelings about what went into building this particular episode. So, like, for example, the Ryo Tatsuki episode, for 40 minutes, I talked about that topic and what brought me to do that topic, my thought process, as I was going through that topic, what did I think about Rio Tatsuki and her prophetic claims before I started actually doing the research, during the research and after the research, how I discovered Rio Tatsuki. I even went into the idea that I originally was going to start the Patreon on January 1st, 2026. And it was because Rio Tatsuki had the July 5th, 2025 prediction that I even moved up my entire Patreon schedule to June of 2025 just because of Rio Tatsuki. I was going to do a whole nother podcast concept, like a whole nother podcast called Archives, which was another documentary style podcast. But instead, I flip flopped it with the Patreon stuff, and now Archives has been moved to now doing are being released January 1st, 2026, in place of the Patreon, because of the Rio Tatsuki topic. So there was a lot that went into that topic. I did a ton of research into it, ton of research into the National Geological Surveys, a lot of science, a lot of stuff, a lot of research, and I dove into all of it. Momo, the behind the scenes episode for that obviously hasn't been released yet because the actual episode hasn't been released, but that one goes 25 minutes long. And the Momo episode itself is an hour and 10 minutes long. So those two episodes will release 2 weeks apart so that you're not getting them all together. And they're kind of spread out so you can enjoy them, spread apart. That's pretty much it. I don't really know how else to advertise that for you guys. Like I said, I had somebody ask me why I don't advertise that on the show, but that's pretty much it. I feel stupid doing it, and that's yeah.
Don't worry, I'm gonna help him out. I'm gonna make him a little thing. We're gonna put it in the episodes so he doesn't have to do this every time. I will make it easy for you, bro.
Well, I really don't want to do it every time, man. I really don't.
Yeah.
Just want to throw it out there this one time, and hopefully, just people listen to this one episode, and that's it. So there you go.
You can send me money directly.
I mean, you can still send me money directly. You could just buy me books, right? I got a whole wish list with I think 715 books on Amazon right now.
I accept
I
Bitcoin.
gotta buy.
You could just send me Bitcoin. We'll accept Bitcoin.
Well, let's get back into the conversation. So we were talking about weather modifications.
We were indeed talking about weather modification. Can you do me a quick favor? Can you
Yeah.
share your screen? Can I guide you to a spot and just let the travelers see this real quick? It'll take 2 seconds.
Sure. Where do you want me to go?
Go to Google and share your screen, and I'm gonna walk everybody right to the thing that's never been hidden from the public, and we could just put this whole like it's a conspiracy to fucking bed. All right.
You just want me to go to
Squash it.
Google?
Yeah, just go to Google and I'll show you what to do. All right. I got you.
Hold on, let me share the screen. I got you.
All right. So next time
Sharing
you
screen.
guys are whoever's listening, next time you're talking to somebody and you mention chemtrails and you're like, that's a bullshit conspiracy. You just do this. Okay. So go and I want you to type NOAA.gov, NOAA.gov, weather modification reports. It's right there. It's the third one. Shabuzi. Now click on the link. Should be NOAA library. I can't really see it from here. Library.noaa.gov. Shablamo. Scroll down. There should be a weather modification reports. I think you have to scroll down further. I think it's down. I think it's like at the bottom. Oh, go up. Crystal said go up. A little more. A little more.
Wait, how do I file? Oh, let's
These?
file
I don't know.
initial report on weather modification activities, interim activity reports, and final report.
God damn, I can't see, bro.
Hold on. Let me see.
No, those are just
Does this help out?
It does and it doesn't. Go up to the top. Weather modification project reports. Okay, scroll down, scroll down. Okay, well, that first hyperlink, what is weather modification? Mind you, people, this is the government's website. This is NOAA.gov. Click on that.
This right here?
Yeah.
I
You don't-
gotta.
Oh, it probably opened up another thing.
There you go.
All right. So this right here tells you exactly, we don't have to read it all, but basically this is the law. There's a law in place that when the government uses your tax dollars to do weather modification using aerosols, spraying chemicals into the sky to modify the weather, they have to report them to NOAA, and NOAA makes that information public by law. So somewhere on here, I'd have to like be doing it. Trying to guide Jeremy, who's computer illiterate, to do this is going to be a little bit more difficult than I expected. But
Yeah.
in here is all of the reports. There's literal handwritten documents for every single time the government does this. Okay. And it tells you where, when, what chemicals, what planes, what the results were, what what they were trying to do, increase rainfall, increase snow, whatever the case might be. It's all listed here on this website. Okay. And you can download each one. I've literally done this 100 times on here. So that right there, like anybody who's like controls are fake, bro, done. You're done. You're done. All right.
You're done.
You're done. I'll have to find the exact page. I can, if you talk for a second, I'll find it and I'll just send it to you because
Well, all right. So if you're looking at this, this apparently is part 908. This is telling you all about the chemtrails and how to report them. And I'm talking so that Jeff can look at stuff on his phone for you because he likes to do things for you.
oh,
Cares.
go back to that first page that we were on
All right, I'm
Go
gonna
back.
go back to the first page for you.
and scroll down to the very bottom.
I'm gonna go down to the very bottom.
There you go, right there. Those are the reports.
Oh.
Just pick one. Just pick one. And notice that there's like 100 pages. So if you go to the bottom again, you'll see that there's like 100 pages,
Mm-hmm.
110 pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So literally click on any one of those little blue links. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Why are they not in?
What do you look? Rainfall enhancement. There you go. Click on that on the blue. Click
That's
that.
I'll go to Bismarck.
If it opened in a new window, we can't see it.
Oh, ha. Yeah, you're right.
And then look at that. Oh, wow. The report, the information where it'll in that report, it'll tell you what plane they used or whatever aerosol device they used. It'll tell you who is in charge. It even gives you phone numbers, bro. Go up to that top page in the document.
No, I want to see this right here. Right here. What is this?
Spraying dry ice. Read it aloud for the class, bro.
Well, I'm gonna find out what it is, and then I'll say what it is for the class. Silver iodide.
Oh.
Specific ratio of iodine to chlorine, 0.8 to 0.2, combined with sodium chloride.
Oops.
Yeah, we should definitely be spraying that.
Oops. So again, for the people listening, NOAA.gov, weather modification reports. Go to the bottom, 110 pages of reports. Click them, read through them, you know, literally anyone. Go to the top page, keep going, keep going. That document right there, they didn't even fill it out. Oh, did they fill it out?
Phone number.
Oh, there's a phone number you could call and ask questions. They got names on there. This is all public information. Now, here's the key. Here's the kicker, okay? The law that we looked at a minute ago only dictates that the government using your tax dollars to do these programs has to be reported on NOAA. Private corporations, so NASA, you know, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, any private, the guy that was on Sean Ryan's show, they don't have to report them, and it doesn't have to be publicly known. So all the private shit is, you know, that's a little harder to find. But as far as what the government is doing, bam, there you go.
If you happen to be listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever you're listening to podcast on, you should probably be watching. I know that Spotify has video. You can watch this on Spotify now. You should probably find a platform where you can watch this episode on and watch.
They even got little planes on the diagram there on the map. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Little planes there. And they even use the word seating, right?
Operator is Weather Modification LLC.
Weather Modification LLC. Okay. Listen, you guys want to hear a fun story? One time, back when I used to use TikTok, I was live on TikTok. Okay. And I don't remember how many people were in the live. A lot. Like a couple thousand people were in the live watching me rant about this. And some nerd got on there and he was like, "You're crazy. I'm a meteorologist. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah." So I invited him to the live. Now him and I are live together and he's, you know, berating me in front of thousands of people, telling me that I'm a dum-dum. And I was like, "Bro, do you have a computer?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got a computer." And he's all confident. And I brought him here and I showed him this, not this particular report, but just the 110 pages of reports. Okay. And I was like, "Pick one, bro, any one." And he did. And he picked it. Silence for about 2 minutes. And he was like, "I can't believe I didn't know about this." Okay. And he was a meteorologist, according to him. Right. So it's just a fun story for you guys. Oh, and that live got nuked and my account got banned, permanently banned off TikTok. So that happened.
Oh. A PA-34.
Yeah, I've been banned from every platform. It's fine. It's a badge of honor. I appreciate being banned because that usually means that I'm right.
That's the same agent that they were using in the other one.
What is this one? Yeah, the top page tells you exactly what it is.
Hail mitigation or something, hail damage mitigation. Yeah, rainfall increase and hail damage mitigation.
Shabam. Somebody call the phone number and ask questions.
That's the same. Just Weather Modification LLC.
There you go. And there's different ones. You know, you're going to find some of the same ones, some of the same corporations doing this shit or whatever. But, you know, you flip through, you know, all 110 pages and each page has, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 reports on it. So there's hundreds of them. You'll find all different stuff, man. You'll find different chemicals, different locations, different results, all this stuff. So yeah, chemtrails are 100% real. Now, are they like spraying nanobots to, you know, do mind control shit? I don't know. Maybe some private corporations doing something like that. Who knows? But they're definitely manipulating weather. And here's the key about this, man. You know, there's this big push, and there has been for like the last 10 years about climate change. Okay. And, you know, climate change bad, you know, humans bad for causing climate change. You know, you're the problem because you eat meat or you drive a truck, right? Like, you know, all that type of stuff. Okay. Bullshit, dude. Human-made climate change is real, but it's not the way that they frame it. It's because of this type of stuff. Because The government and private corporations are out there actively manipulating the weather. Now, people will say weather and climate are two different things. Sure. But if you're doing this on a global scale, because it's not just the United States doing this, and it's not just United States corporations doing this, it's everywhere in the world. When you do that all over the place for how long have they been doing weather mod for? Like over 100 years. Okay. That will slowly start to change the climate. It's the problem reaction solution. They're creating the problem of climate change, waiting for our reaction. Oh no, climate change bad. We have 12 years till we're all dead, blah, blah, blah. Offer the solution, which is more totalitarianism, more control, right? Less freedoms. That's it. The Hegelian dialectic right in your face, bro.
It's tough, man, because how are you supposed to fight this shit, right? Because let me give you a brief history on my history, right? So growing up in Connecticut, I was born in Connecticut, and growing up, I grew up in a family that that didn't give a flying shit about politics at all, right? Or science or the environment. They just kind of lived their lives. My dad was blue collar, my mother was my mother. Um my parents were separated and they each lived their own lives. Uh at some point I moved down to Florida with my dad and I moved in with my aunt and my uncle and they were as blue gets. They push science, they push hard work in school, they push the environment. My uncle was a turtle biologist. Um, that's where I got my love of science and math and everything, and that's how I got into all of this, into physics and all that world, man. That's where it all came from. I voted for Barack Obama during the first time that he was up for election. And I really got into the blue side of things, right? Peace, love, all that stuff, hippie side of things. Um, I'm not going to go into my political thoughts now. All I can say is that the way I look at the world politically is completely different than how I used to. But when you look at the world now, right, and you look at the views of what people will call a conspiracy theorist, how do you look at them and say that they're all crazy and wrong and stupid when everything that they say ends up turning out to be right?
It's a what's the word for it, man? There's a term for it. I can't think of the term, but it's manipulating the perception, right? So I'll give you a good example. Well, shit. I mean, this is a perfect example, right? Like chemtrails or weather modification. Um, you know, using the term conspiracy theorist, it has like a certain connotation to it. Okay. Uh, just as soon as you label somebody with that, 50% of the population automatically won't listen to that person at all, right? The NPCs of the world will automatically be like, "Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist." Right?
Mhm.
And it's super effective, man. It's like a Pokemon move, bro. You know, government used conspiracy theorist. It was super effective, right? Like that's what it is. It's just a distraction to make you not pay attention to what that is.
It's it's incredible, right? Because I don't talk about politics on the show. I've made it a a, a staple, a statement to not do the politics thing on the show because that's kind of how I reflect in my life, right? Is I'm not a political guy. I don't like politics. I hate it, right? I have my own political views. I see myself as a person who does not draw lines, right? I don't do that. I look at each and every individual issue as its own thing, and I do not look at every single thing as an umbrella situation, right? I don't look at the entire world as a red problem or a blue problem. I look at every single problem as an individual case, right? So I could go one way or the other, or I can go completely different than both sides view the outcome. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's the case for most of it.
I'm the
Um,
same way with you, but to be honest with you, this didn't happen until so what you're talking about, man, unfortunately, in the height of COVID, conspiracy theorists got lumped in with far right extremists, right? And that was a psyop. So prior to 2020, being a conspiracy theorist, you were not labeled red or blue. It just wasn't a thing. Okay. There were certain niche conspiracies that you
well,
could, you could label somebody that way. But as a whole, like if you were just hit with the term, the psyop term of conspiracy theorist prior to 2020, you were not thrown in one of those categories.
that's not agreed, right? But realistically, back in the 70s, the conspiracy theorist, right, before the term was even really put out there, by definition was the hippies.
Exactly.
The government's out to get you, man, right?
Correct.
And that was by all means, that was the blue side of things.
It was, but it wasn't as politicized. Nowhere near as politicized, right? Maybe it was like 10% politicized, right? Because there was a lot of conspiracies that went both ways, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't just automatically lumped into a category. But during COVID, specifically because of the shots, right? And there's two things that happened actually. It wasn't just COVID. It was also Trump, right? Trump was another reason for this. And I'm just the same as you. I'm not necessarily political one way or the other. I have my views on things, but like I'm not like a Trumper, right? And I'm not a never Trumper either, right? I'm just a realist and I look at things for what they are, right? But because and I'm going to use the term the deep state, and that's another one that gets you thrown into a category, right? The lizard people, they didn't want this dude to be in charge so bad that they were willing to, create this narrative. Now, if you questioned the narrative, whatever it was, the shots or anything, okay, you were automatically thrown into that category. And because of Trump and COVID, those two things combined created this situation where now if you're labeled a conspiracy theorist, you're automatically a far right extremist. Period. End of story. Right? And it's sad. And that was the hardest thing to overcome in the 20 years or more, 25 years that I've been a conspiracy theorist. Okay. That was the hardest thing to overcome. Not the ostracism, right? Not the people laughing at you and having to try to convince people of stuff all the time. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part, and still to this day, is calling myself a conspiracy theorist and not being lumped into the right wing, right? And it
Mhm.
was a perfect storm for that psyop to happen, right? And that's where we're at right now. So, and even you right now in this episode are saying, you're saying the thing, I don't want to be political. I don't want to make it political. The show's not political. Well, conspiracies aren't political, bro. Like weather modification is not political, right? The dangers from 5G or whatnot is not political, right? The poisons in the food,
No, it's a human safety concern.
thank you.
Yeah, it's a human issue. It's a public safety issue.
But
Right.
you're throwing in the disclaimer. I'm not blaming you or saying that you're the
No,
problem,
but
but
because it's been politicized,
yes.
right? They've made it a politic tool.
Yep.
It's a weapon now,
Yep.
right? But going back to where, like, the reason why I brought up my whole backstory, right, is because I was one of those people, right, that looked at conspiracy theorists as weird people. You know, I mean, dude, I went to fucking college because I was gonna go for astronomy. You know, I then I went to for physics. You know, I changed majors a couple times, and then I got kicked out because I partied too hard in Panama City, Florida, one year. You know, and it's the real question is, how many times do you have to be wrong when you call somebody a conspiracy theorist?
Before you realize the earth is flat.
No, no, no.
Ah.
But before you have to stop and think to yourself, like, like, should I stop and maybe be like, maybe I'm the stupid one, you know, because I've reached that point in my life, right? There was a point in my life where I was like, okay, you know, maybe I should stop. And honestly, you know, I've had this long conversation with my wife before, right? I've had this where my biggest growth in my life, and honestly, it came in my 30s, was when I realized when I'm wrong. When you realize when you're wrong, stop and be like, "Hey, I was fucking wrong about that. Let me take this and turn it into a learning opportunity. Grow from it, right? And become better from this. And don't be wrong again. Fool me once, right? We've all heard that. But how many times do people have to take that saying and say, "All right, fool me 27 times, you know, shame on me for the 27th time," right? But you're still a conspiracy theorist because you're crazy.
Yep.
You know, you should get the jab, buddy.
Yep. Well,
Jab, jab, jab.
and look, man, you know, I know I talk about weather modification all the time, but there's a reason for that because it's one of the biggest conspiracy theories. But as I just showed everybody here a few minutes ago, it's not even it's not even hidden. It's not. They don't even hide it at all. Like it's purely a public. Like you could just go find this in the public information right now. We could go deep and be like, hey, it's just information given us to the government. Maybe it's a psyop. It could be. I don't know. All right. We can go down that rabbit hole. But, you know, that's why I always hold on to this one so tight because it's so easily provable. You know, remember when I did the first weather modification episode, what, 3-4 years ago on here,
Mhm.
right? And I remember specifically before doing it, and the reason I did that episode was because you and Jake, and I think CJ at the time as well. No, CJ wasn't here anymore. You and Jake were like pretty adamant on like, nah, I don't know. Like you weren't saying it wasn't real, but you guys were you had reservations. You were like, I don't know, I don't know, right? And I
Mhm.
had to do the whole thing. And then by the end of it, you guys were like, well, maybe, bro, maybe, right? And then now look where we are a few years later, right? Um, I don't think there's any doubt in your mind that they're spraying chemicals in the sky, right? What all the reasons for, we could debate and theorize all day, but the fact of the matter that they are doing it, you know? So that's why I use this one because it's right there, man. It's easy.
Yeah. I mean, they're spraying something. That's for sure. Right? I mean, I don't know, man.
And
It's
going
crazy.
back to last week when I said, you know, nobody out there is doing studies on what those effects are as a whole on the human body, right? There might be a study, a follow-up study. So they'll spray a chemtrail, right? And they'll spray silver iodide mixed with chlorine and sodium, what was it, sodium carbonate or whatever they're doing, okay? And they'll do a follow-up study on that particular study, right? Or experiment, and they'll say, yeah, there was no harmful effects. Okay, carry on. But what they're not doing is doing a full like macro study of what the effects of that were, plus the thousands of other things that are happening at the same time, right? And I truly believe that the lizard people, right, they're doing this on purpose, right? They what's the word, like obfuscate the results of studies and the baselines for studies to create this weird narrative like, no, it's all good, bro. Like, it's all good, bro. Like, don't worry about it. You know, we checked it out. It's fine.
Hey, do me a favor. Read through the comments real quick. I gotta get a water, dude. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I'll read through some comments. I saw a few that were in here. Let me go back up. I'm gonna scroll up here a little bit. Infinite Jackalope, pretty cool shirt. Yeah, it is. Yeah, before that, conspiracy theorist was anti-government. Yep. Then we got Trump. I don't know if you said that when I said that or beforehand, the more, but we're on the same wavelength here, right? We're tracking together. A lot of people ask when I get into these topics, oh, you're a Trump fan. Never got a question about a president before him. Yeah, that's a big part of the psyop, right? And this is one of the big reasons why I'm not like political. This is one reason why I'm not like a gung-ho Trump guy, right? Because of that. Because I think that that's part of the psyop. I think he's just another player in the world theater. He's just another character in the world stage, right? So it's all part of the psyop. That's just the way it is. Ego deaths. Yeah. First scene in the Matrix, Trinity defies gravity. Neo enters the jump program to defy gravity. That's interesting. He doesn't know about the Matrix. Yeah, we got to keep using these references, make him feel left out. Yep, Jeremy, we're going to keep shaming you until you watch the Matrix.
Yeah, do it.
You got to watch it and the Terminator. Skeeter says you got to watch the Matrix and the Terminator. You do, because there's so many little things in there. You'd be like, oh, shit,
I watched the first Back to the Future today.
It's not good enough. All right.
I watched it
while doing something else.
While working on the podcast.
Hurricane eyes are CGI because they have to be. I believe that. Hurricanes are vertical storms, very tall clouds, no circling. I'd have to. We could probably have a conversation about that. I'd be interested in hearing what you mean by that. You know, there was something else here I saw a second ago.
I want to put out while you're looking. Probably we'll pick back up on the guests after UFO days. So the month of July might be slow on the guests until August. We may start a fairly big thing halfway through July, depending on how something works out that Jeff and I are working on behind the scenes. Yeah. I'm not sure how that's going to go yet. But if you're wondering why we haven't had guests yet, it's just I've been, or why we haven't had guests lately, it's just because I have been working full steam on UFO days, trying to get everything together for that. And I've just been chugging along on that. So I haven't had a chance to really reach out, do the get the connections going with people, doing what I normally have to do, shake hands, kiss babies and stuff. But I will get back on the grind as soon as UFO days is over. For the time being, though, you're just going to hear Jeff and I talk about crazy stuff. That's that. Unless somebody reaches out to me.
Skeeter said something in here about them seeding the hurricane. Yeah, it was 1940.
We're still working it the more.
1947, I think it was, Project Cirrus. I might be wrong about the year, so don't quote me on the year, but it was definitely in the 40s. I think it was 1947. Project Cirrus. There was a hurricane off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. They tried to seed it with dry ice to manipulate the hurricane. I think they were trying to weaken the hurricane, if I'm not mistaken. When they flew that plane in the inner eye wall and they dropped this dry ice, and it wasn't even that much, if I remember. It was like 50 pounds of dry ice or something. Okay. They dropped in this eye wall, of this hurricane. The hurricane decided to make an abrupt left turn. Okay. And slammed into the Carolinas, and it caused a whole bunch of damage. It was a whole thing. Then here's the tricky part. Here's where they get you. The follow-up studies claim that the seeding had nothing to do with that, and that the course correction for the hurricane was just a natural thing that was going to happen anyways. And then when they did follow-up experiments seeding other things like silver iodide into hurricanes, the follow-up studies said, oh, it was ineffective, and they just stopped doing it, quote unquote. Well, they never stopped doing it, right? Um, that was, I think, I'm pretty sure, and there's no way to prove this, it's just my assumption, that that's their way of kind of tucking it under the rug. Like, oops, we dumped 50 pounds of dry ice into this hurricane and it slammed into the Carolinas. It actually killed some people, I think, caused all kinds of damage.
It did.
But they can't say that, right? They have to come out after and be like, no, 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 no. Like, our experiments had nothing to do with that. It's just, we're not capable. Hurricanes are too powerful. There's too much energy in hurricanes. We don't have the ability to manipulate them. Like, bullshit, dude. You just covered your ass is what you did.
Yeah.
You just covered your ass.
Well, none of them want to go to prison for harboring conspiracy.
Of course. No, yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to go to prison, But, and here's the thing, man, there's a lot of things that are like this, that are like the weather modification. I'm still trying to get Jeremy on board with the millimeter waves, the 5G thing. That one's a little harder to, I don't want to use the word convince people, because to be honest with you, I'm not here to try to convince people of anything, other than that they need to open their eyes and think for themselves and question everything, right? Like, I'm not here trying to give you, here's what's going on, and here's the facts of the matter, like, there are facts that I can show you, but the conclusion, that's up to you, man. Right. But the 5G thing is another big one. There has been thousands of studies showing that the technology in 5G is harmful, not just to humans, but to plants, to animals. Right. So
here's the thing. I did a little bit of research into this. Actually, I did a little bit of research into this the day after the last recording, just laying in bed trying to fall asleep because it was bothering me. What was bothering me was why you had made mention of them putting a warning in the box with new phones, saying don't put the phone up to your ear. So I looked that up to try to verify that I verified. That's true.
Yep.
They do that. The claim is that they can't verify that it's not dangerous. That's not that they say it is, it's that they can't verify it isn't.
that's them covering their ass.
That's what they're doing. They're covering their ass. So, like I said in that episode, when you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, radio waves, high frequency radio waves, or low frequency radio waves, are not supposed to be ionizing. Okay? They're supposed to be harmless. They're not supposed to do anything to biological anything. Okay? Why do they even have to cover their ass? Why is that? Why are they making an attempt to appease anything? Because the science does say that there's nothing there. There's nothing wrong with this whatsoever. There shouldn't even be an effort, is what I'm trying to say. because there shouldn't be anything to make an effort against. So I looked into it some more. Apparently, there is some studies coming out that's saying that there could be a potential danger in radio frequency on biological DNA or DNA, right? I don't know why I threw biological in front of that, but DNA. But
Wait, say that last part again. Sorry. Say what you just said again.
so there is some studies coming out that says that there could be evidence of radio frequencies causing damage to DNA. In what capacity? It's unclear. I can't find what capacity, how long it has to be, in what form, in what, are you talking about ultra high frequency, very high frequency, what side of the spectrum of the radio frequency side of the electromagnetic spectrum are you talking about? How long do you have to have it there? What magnitude? There's a lot of variables there that I'm unsure of. Can cell phones even get that right? Can they even get to the point to where they're being harmful? Then I started noticing that every single time that you look up a definition of 5G or cell phone frequencies or radio frequencies and cell phones or any combination of thereof, they always throw in the key term non-ionizing. Now, if anybody understands the term non-ionizing, that is a specific term that talks about, basically, in layman's terms, fucking up biological matter, right? At the molecular level. That's what ionizing is. Okay. So why are they even putting that in the basic definitions for all this stuff when you're not asking for that specific information?
It's obfuscation, bro. It's legalese, bro. Right? Anybody who's watched like First Amendment auditors will understand this plain as day, right? Like the whole I'm not driving, I'm traveling, right? You look up the definitions in the law and they're right, technically. It's that type of thing. Okay. While you were looking at that, man, I went back. I posted this years ago and I just found it. And it's the New Hampshire Commission to Study the Environmental and Health Effects of Evolving 5G Technology, October 31st, 2019. Okay. This is a study from NTP, National Toxicology Program. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in here, let me scroll down a little bit. It's talking about what they're looking for, why, blah, blah, blah. NTP, the National Toxicology, program. The NTP study on cell phone RFR, radio frequency radiation, is the most comprehensive assessment of health effects in rats and mice from exposure to 2G and 3G cell phone RFR. There was clear evidence that exposure to cell phone RFR caused heart tumors in male rats. There was some evidence that exposure to cell phone RFR caused tumors in the brain and adrenal gland in male rats. Okay. The final conclusion, blah, 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 sent to experts. I'm sorry, I'm trying to like breeze through this because it's a dense document. I don't want to bore everybody. where was it? Clear evidence of carcinogenicity. Carcinogenicity. I don't know what the fuck that is. Based on increased evidences of malignant heart tumors, brain tumors, adrenal gland tumors. Okay.
Those are all very bad things.
There's
So
more. Yeah, there's a lot
yeah.
more. Keep going.
So I want to back up and kind of explain why ionizing, or why I find it important that they're putting that specific terminology into these definitions. Now, when I say that they're putting the term non-ionizing into the definitions of 5G signals or cell phone signals or radio frequency signals, and I'm connecting that to biological cells or DNA, the connection isn't automatic there. Okay, there's a few steps that you have to take. Ionization is the process of which an atom or a molecule becomes ionized. Okay, the process in which an atom becomes ionized is when the electrical charge is changed in an atom. Okay, basically when radiation ionization happens, the radiation causing the effect onto a biological cell causes the breakdown of the this the DNA's bonding structure. Okay, so without the bonding structure holding everything together, everything falls apart. Okay, I think, did we go over alpha, beta, and gamma radiation last time? I think we did, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, whenever certain types of radiation touches DNA or any biological cellular structure, it tears it apart. It just disintegrates it, and it does that by taking apart the bonds that holds it all together. Okay, that's what ionizing will do. It changes the charge of the atoms, and it literally disintegrates. When gamma radiation goes through your body, because the particles are, the gamma radiation is considered energy. It's so small that it literally shoots through your body. It touches all your cells at once, and every piece of you is affected during exposure to gamma radiation. Your body literally melts. Okay, so why are they telling you that there's non-ionizing effects from cell phone usage? Why are they telling you this? Why are they saying this in a definition where you're not asking for it? That's what's driving me nuts. When I'm saying, hey, what are the waves that are being used in cell phones? Like,
It's for liability purposes. Because I don't know which organizations are responsible for dictating. It's probably the FDA or some other. Okay, but there's certain like thresholds, right, that are deemed safe, and you cannot produce a product and sell it to the public if it's not within those thresholds for whatever it is. Okay, when you're talking about like all this toxicology shit, right, whether it's chemicals or radiation or whatever the case might be, if things are not within a certain threshold, you can't produce it and sell it to the public. Okay, it's the legal liability end of things. So what they do is what you're talking about here is they obfuscate the truth by saying, hey, look, it's non-ionizing radiation. right? It's only pumping out like X number of whatevers, it's fine. It's not a big deal. We've done the studies on it, right? But this is going back to what I'm always saying, where it's like, they're leaving out truths or they're obfuscating truths so that they can get away with producing these things in mass and making trillions of fucking dollars, right? So that's the reason they're doing that kind of thing, right? Yeah, sure. The levels of non-ionizing radiation, or it is non-ionizing radiation, that's their way of getting around the liability when the tumors start to come out. Okay. I just put this document that I was reading into Grok and I said, summarize it for me. Okay. The NTP studied cell phone RFR, finding clear evidence of heart tumors and some evidence of brain and adrenal gland tumors in male rats, equivocal evidence in mice, DNA damage observed in rat and mouse brains. Okay. So again, there are thousands of studies like this that have shown that the shit is dangerous. Okay. In all different ways. Okay. This isn't the one that I thought it was. I was actually looking for the one that said that there was DNA damage on plants as well, not just rats, not just humans, but plants. And, they're not going to put that out there. If that was on the warning box when you open your phone, hey, just so you know, your cell phone's going to literally damage the DNA of every living organism around you, right? If that was in the warning, they wouldn't even be able to produce them and sell them to people. You see what I mean? So they have to go in there and they have to slap it with some definition that nobody asked for. No, it's non-ionizing radiation, bro. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Does that make sense?
You said that there was damage to plant cells too, huh?
Yep.
Plant cells have cell walls.
Cell wall membranes, degradation of cell wall membranes. I remember that specifically. I don't remember what study it is. I'll find it. I swear I'll find it, but I've posted it somewhere because I remember going through this with Creamer and Jade back in the early Shadowban days. I remember getting deep into this, and yeah, man, degradation of cell wall membranes.
Cell wall membranes are inside of the cell wall. It's think of like a chicken egg, right? When you crack open a chicken egg for like your breakfast,
right?
And then you have that thin membrane inside of the shell. That's the same thing as what's inside of a plant cell, right? That's the cell wall membrane.
So what's happening is the membrane is being degraded, which is allowing, whether it's non-ionizing radiation, ionizing radiation, or who knows what else, because the membrane is being degraded, it's allowing the other frequencies, because that's what they are, to come through and cause further damage, right? This is where you get the double and single DNA strand breaks from millimeter wave technology, because the cell wall membranes have been degraded and it's allowing these frequencies to penetrate deeper into the organism, right? And again, nobody's doing the studies on that, right? There are, but not as far as like for the production of these things and like public safety and all that. They're not even looking that deep. They're just saying, yo, the non-ionizing radiation is cool, man. It's fine, bro. It's not a big deal, dude. Right? But they're not looking at like what the compounding effects are of all these different frequencies all the freaking time and what that's doing. Right? So it's like, this is what I said last time, bro. This is why we have so many sick people, right? This is why the number, damn, this might get us in trouble. My opinion is this is why it's possible that the numbers of like people on the spectrum are through the roof these days, right? People are getting sick by the numbers. This could lead into a whole conversation of terrain theory versus germ theory. Are people getting sick because they're catching germs, or are they getting sick because they're being bombarded with frequencies that the body has not been created or evolved to withstand? Right? People have done this before where they've gone back and they've tracked when were all the massive, like major global pandemics in the world? Well, they all coincide with the production and mass use of new frequencies, right? So when like I'm just throwing this out here. I don't know the full timeline here, but like just as an example, like AM radio comes out, Spanish flu, right? Or whatever the fucking thing was at the time, right? And then, the 1G comes out, right? And it was what was the one back in the day? Whatever. There was a big global pandemic back then, right? And it's like every single time, bro, and all the way up to 5G, they were mass producing 5G and they were putting up all those 5G towers in what year? 2019, 2020. Everybody was getting laid off. Everybody was stuck home. Nobody was working except who? Amazon workers and Verizon workers that were putting up 5G towers, right? So there's an argument there to say, hey, look, man, maybe pumping frequencies across the planet is the thing that's creating sickness.
The Moore said CB radios killed all the pigeons. Now they're all drones.
That's funny.
I bought a book a while ago. Birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real, bro. I'm an official Birds Aren't Real member.
This
membership card. Oh, here it is.
Legitimately, one day we'll be doing.
I got it protected too. Birds Aren't Real official member.
That's awesome. One day I will do a report on the birds aren't real. It will be done. It will be done. I can't wait, actually.
That's a whole rabbit hole by itself, man. The terrain theory thing. The idea also is that basically, look, man, you're not getting sick because you're catching something. Bacterial infections, sure. Viral infections, no. What's really happening is your body every so often, and it's usually cyclical, right? It's building up toxins all year long. Building up toxins. And a lot of those toxins are frequency based. In fact, everything is frequency based, I would argue, right? We live in a holographic universe. So everything is frequency based. So your body's building up these toxins, if you will, due to all these frequencies. And every so often it has to expel them. And it sucks. You get sick, you sweat, you vomit, diarrhea, whatever the case might be. And that's really what's happening. It's not that you're catching some viral load, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know much about that. I'm gonna take a word on that. I'd have to see timelines and shit.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Well, we're already at an hour and a half, bud.
Here we are.
I'm surprised you're not. Oh, that's because you just took a nap.
I took a nap before the show.
You little fucker. The more, no, I haven't. I've of course touched into the Aleister Crowley stuff, but that would have technically been like a CJ thing, really, when he was part of the show. I mean, I've got stuff back here that references Crowley, but I haven't really dove into the world of Crowley very much, to be honest with you.
That's a whole thing too, man. You get into like that's a gateway into flat earth or space is fake, if you want my opinion. You get into the occult shenanigans that Crowley was into, and the thelemic beliefs and the people who were involved in that, like Jack Parsons, right? And all those people that were part of Aleister Crowley's little cult or his little religion, they also were the same people who started NASA. And it's super weird.
I'm familiar with a lot of the connections and stuff. I think I would say one of the biggest connections that I know of, or that I've really dove into with Aleister Crowley, would have been the connection with the Loch Ness, right? Kenzar did a series on the Loch Ness monster, actually, when I took those couple weeks off when I was moving up here in Menominee, Wisconsin. But I've also done a ton of research into Loch Ness, prior to starting Infinite Rabbit Hole. And there's this whole theory that Aleister Crowley opened up um, some sort of portal, or had some doings to do with bringing some creature from the past or from another dimension into the waters of Loch Ness. He used to own a property on the shores or in the vicinity. I actually have a book that I bought a long time ago. Where is it? It's a good book. I want to recommend it for anybody who is interested. Where are you? You should be right in this area.
Here we go. Here it is. Ha ha. Man, I'm fucking good. Okay, this is from the National Library of Medicine, the NIH. Okay, this is on the NIH website. Okay. Um, Evidence for a connection between coronavirus disease 19 and exposure to radio frequency radiation from wireless communications, including 5G. Again, this is on the NIH's website. All right. I'm just going to read part of the abstract. I know you're not supposed to just read the abstract, but we're going to do it anyways. Okay. Uh, Coronavirus disease, COVID-19 public health policy has focused on the severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, the virus and its effects on human health, while environmental factors have been largely ignored. In considering the epidemiological triad applicable to all disease, we investigated a possible environmental factor in the COVID-19 pandemic: ambient radio frequency radiation from wireless communication systems, including microwaves and millimeter waves. SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused the COVID-19 pandemic, surfaced in Wuhan, China, shortly after the implementation of citywide fifth-generation 5G of wireless communications radiation, and rapidly spread globally, initially demonstrating a statistical correlation to international communities with recently established 5G networks. So if what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying you, Jeremy, are saying this, but for the listeners, if what I'm saying sounds ridiculous or crazy or another conspiracy theory from Jeff, the NIH did a whole fucking study on this. Why would they do a whole study on this if there was nothing to it? Right?
Maybe because you're crazy.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe because you're crazy, man. Maybe just because you're crazy. I don't know, man. It just goes back to the question. How many times do you got to be wrong for you just to realize maybe you're the one that's wrong. Maybe you're the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Maybe you were the conspiracy theorist all along.
It's interesting though, right? I mean, look, dude, I'm just saying, bro, like, I don't know everything. I'm just a regular schmuck, dude, right? I literally don't know anything. But I can tell you right now, man, when you start looking at stuff with a different lens and you start thinking about shit this way, you see the whole world differently, man.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine that the people who don't believe this stuff, that's the real conspiracy?
It is.
Whoa.
It is. That's the real conspiracy.
That's the real conspiracy.
They're creating NPCs, and the people who aren't NPCs, they just get ostracized and they get laughed at. And it's all good. Keep laughing, bro.
Dude, fuck. That's our conversation for next week. Let's do that next week.
What?
Let's talk NPCs. I'm writing it down. I'm putting it on a post note. Let's do simulation and NPCs, because I have a I don't know. I've been running into some fucking weird people, man, and like just doing some good old fashioned people watching lately, and I'm convinced that this world is full of them.
100%.
100% fucking full of NPCs, dude.
Yeah, I would argue that most people walking around are NPCs.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to get too far into it right now because we're about to wrap up this episode. But like, I've been trying to push, being more active on social medias and stuff. Um, um, I've been getting a lot of really good feedback lately from about the show, and trying to get more active with it and push it a little bit more to see if this thing's got legs. Um, and working on TikTok a lot more, and X and Instagram and shit, and we'll dive into NPC simulation, dead internet. We'll talk about all that because I've definitely run into some symptoms of dead internet.
Oh yeah, dead internet theory, 100% a thing, bro. And it makes perfect sense, because if most people are NPCs, well, the only way to fill that out on the internet is with bots, dude. Is
Yeah,
fake internet activity.
yeah. So I'm gonna write that down. Let's lock that in. NPCs, sim theory, dead internet.
Yeah, and my final thoughts on tonight's episode for everybody, just if whether you listen to this episode or any of the past episodes, or you listen to Shadowban, whatever the case is, or you hear any random conspiracy on the internet, right? Don't be so quick to just shut it off, right? Take a few minutes and really dig into something, right? Like pick something and just dig into it for a minute, and you'll find something, bro. Look, I did it while we were alive, right? We were talking about the radio frequencies and all that stuff, and I found the NIH study, right? So now, of course, they're not going to come out and say, yeah, 5G did it, right? Because they have to cover their ass. But just the fact that they even did a fucking study, they spent millions of dollars on doing a study just to find out if is enough.
It's the fact that they're looking into it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. The fact the government, I mean, the government spends money on some really stupid shit, right? But the fact that they're spending money on something means that there's an inkling there. There's some sort of interest in it. There's a reason for it.
Yeah. Somebody smarter than you and somebody smarter than me was like, hey,
Yeah, there's reason to believe, for sure. But all right, yep. Next week we'll dive. I got my little post-it note. Unless something happens to it, I need someone to remind me what the fuck we're talking about. But next week, or if a guest reaches out, but NPCs, sim theory, dead internet theory.
the more, bro. If you've been to a Taylor Swift concert, you are an NPC.
100% facts. 100%, yeah.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah, facts. Yeah,
That's funny, dude.
I agree.
Funny
That's
guy.
a good one.
Funny guy.
That's all right. Well, I appreciate it, everybody. This was another fun episode. I no longer worry about these conversation episodes. Just sit down, spark up a conversation, and it goes quick. But all right. Well, like always, everybody, my name is Jeremy. I'm your host of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. This is my buddy Jeff. We like to just come in here, have a good time, expand our minds, expand yours. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody.
Adios.